Hi everyone, it's Top 10 Tuesday time. I've seen a few videos already posted on this subject, and whatever has already been posted I've got links to in the description below if you'd like to check them out. Of course, James, DVD Collector 1974, was the guy who sort of introduced me to this. This is the first videos that I saw, but also people like Forkerball and the Joker 5150 and Movie Collector 666 and whoever else is intrigued or enticed by this whole concept is doing these videos as well, and so am I. James gave me a little sneak preview of some of the themes that are coming up, and this week is Westerns, and I went, uh-oh. A top 10 Western list, that would be kind of tough for me, I'm afraid. There are many Westerns, many classic Westerns that I just have never seen. True Grit, for example, and The Searchers, Winchester 73, High Noon. I haven't seen any of these movies. In fact, the only John Wayne film that I have seen is Rio Bravo. I've had a copy of that for years, but I've only seen it the one time, with Ricky Nelson and Dean Martin. Of course, what I do remember of it I liked very much, especially the scene where the bad guys basically corner John Wayne in town, take his gun, take the bullets out, put the gun back in his holster and say, okay, you're going to march us into the jail where our colleague is being locked up, and you're going to tell your pals that that we paid his bail already and they should let him out. What happens after that's pretty awesome. But yeah, Westerns, not really a favorite genre of mine. There's a few that I've seen that I really like, but on the whole, you know, not a favorite. But the ones I have seen, yes, I did manage to come up with 9 and a couple of honorable mentions. And those honorable mentions are Open Range, which is directed by Kevin Costner, and stars Costner and Annette Bening and Robert Duvall. And Appaloosa, which is also directed by an actor, Ed Harris. He and Viggo Mortensen are partners, and they team up to rescue Renee Zellweger, who's been abducted by some nefarious types, and Jeremy Irons is the villain in the movie. Saw each of these movies only one time, so I really can't call them a favorite of mine, but I did like both of them very much. Dances with Wolves doesn't make my list, I'm afraid. My number 9 pick is Silverado. Silverado is a movie that played on cable a lot when I was younger, and so I had many chances to see it and enjoyed it. It's by Lawrence Kasdan, who went on to do Wyatt Earp with Kevin Costner. And Costner's in this one as well. Also Scott Glenn and Kevin Kline, Danny Glover, Linda Hunt, Jeff Goldblum in a small part. It's a fun Western. Brian Dennehy, of course. Brian Dennehy. Yeah, it's a good one. Fun. Pretty... a non-gritty Western, I'd say. Not really gritty, I'd say. Very clean for the Old West. But it's a good film. It's a fun film. My number 8, The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. This is directed by Andrew Dominik, who went on to do... oh, it just came out. Killing Them Softly. Yes, Brad Pitt was in that. And of course he played Jesse James in this film. And Casey Affleck plays Robert Ford, the guy who knew Jesse James and shot him in the back one day and then gained some notoriety from that. It's a long film, but beautifully shot. Just a gorgeous looking movie. Next on my list is The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada, which was starred Tommy Lee Jones, and he directed it as well. Tommy Lee Jones basically kidnaps a border patrolman, played by Barry Pepper, who shot a friend of his, Melquiades Estrada, an illegal immigrant, and then he forces him to help bring the body back across the border to Mexico where he can be buried properly. This made my top 10 list of 2005, I believe. Or maybe it was 2006, I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, really, really cool movie. And Tommy Lee Jones hasn't directed anything since then, but I hope he does. That would be nice. Then there's Dead Man. Dead Man is a black and white Western, and this was done by Wim Wenders. I could be wrong about that. It's been ages since I've seen the movie. It really has been. No, sorry, Jim Jarmusch. Yes, exactly. Excuse me. Jim Jarmusch directed another black and white film called Strangers in Paradise. He did Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai with Forrest Whitaker. This movie stars Johnny Depp. He's an accountant. He travels to a sort of a remote town out in the frontier, where he's been promised a job via a letter that he received, but when he gets there, he finds out that someone else took the job, and now he has, nothing to do, really, and he's spent all his money to arrive there. So he goes in a saloon and meets a woman, and they go back to her place, or they get a room somewhere, and then Gabriel Byrne shows up, the lady's man, or so he thinks, and he's so angry that he shoots her, and the bullet goes right through her, and it's Johnny Depp. So he spends the rest of the movie not in the best condition. Along the way, he meets a Native American who's called Nobody. He doesn't have a tribe. He's just sort of wandering around. But he helps out Johnny Depp, and they make the trip together. Basically, they're on the run from bounty hunters because the woman had a powerful father who would have been Johnny Depp's boss. So he sends some assassins after him. The boss is played by come on, think. Robert Mitchum. Yes, Robert Mitchum. And he sends a trio of assassins, two of whom are played by Michael Wincott and Lance Henriksen. Michael Wincott is so great in this movie. Really, really funny guy. Just remembering some of his lines makes me laugh. Anyway, the three of them, they're dispatched to go after Johnny Depp and take him down on Robert Mitchum's behalf, because he holds Johnny Depp responsible for his daughter's death. This is a really good movie. Kind of very different for a Western. Very, very different, but good. And it's funny, I was looking on IMDb under Westerns, and there's actually a Western called My Name is Nobody. And it came out in 1973, which means if I find a copy of it, I'll probably look at it for my 1973 series. Now we get into some more contemporary Westerns. Not that those aren't contemporary, but these are just more stylized, I guess you could say. Young Guns 2 is on my list right here. Why is this movie on my list instead of Young Guns 1? I don't know. I just like Young Guns 2 more. Emilio Estevez, of course, plays Billy the Kid, and his posse is made up of guys like Kiefer Sutherland and Lou Diamond Phillips. And some of the characters from the first movie got killed, so now they're filled out. The empty slots are filled out by people like Alan Ruck from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Balthazar Getty, and Christian Slater, who's very antagonistic towards Billy, is always trying to make it his gang instead of Billy's gang, and you don't mess with Billy the Kid with his gang. And of course, William Peterson as Pat Garrett. So you sort of have the lead up, basically, to Pat Garrett shooting down Billy the Kid, as the legend says. Who else is in this movie? Jenny Wright has a small role in this, and Bradley Whitford, right. He has a small role as a journalist in the beginning and the end of the film. I always like this movie. It's directed by Jeff Murphy, and I just thought that the editing is really snappy and it's very stylish, and I just always liked it. Just sat well with me for one reason. Another extremely stylish Western, The Quick and the Dead, directed by Sam Raimi, came out in 1995. Sharon Stone as the very Clint Eastwood-like silent gunslinger who comes to the town of Redemption, where Gene Hackman is the law, so to speak. You know, he's got his gang of enforcers terrorizing everyone. She enters the quick draw competition. A lot of other colorful characters. Lance Henriksen again is in this. Russell Crowe, Leonardo DiCaprio, Pat Hingle, who played Gordon in the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher Batman films. And yeah, fun movie, and one of my favorite scores of all time. Alan Silvestri did a fantastic score for that movie. My number 3 pick, 3:10 to Yuma, starring Christian Bale and Russell Crowe. It's a remake of a film that came out 50 years earlier, exactly. It came out in 2010. No, sorry, 2007, excuse me, 2007. And Russell Crowe is the fugitive who's taken by Christian Bale on a journey, along with a small posse of lawmen, to a train station where he's going to be transported to a prison. Meanwhile, Russell Crowe's old gang is pursuing them and is going to try and take them down so they can free Russell Crowe. Really, really terrific movie. It was on my best of the year list that year. It was directed by James Mangold. Really like that guy. Very, very interesting. The last film he directed was The Wolverine, and he also did Kate and Leopold and Walk the Line and Identity and Heavy. Very, very varied, diverse filmography there for Mr. Mangold. My number 2 favorite Western, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, directed by Sergio Leone. And I've seen a lot of the other ones. Duck You Sucker, a.k.a. Fistful of Dynamite. Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more. Once Upon a Time in the West. I've seen all those, but The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the one that really kind of stands out as the most fun and the most stylish, and certainly the funniest in a lot of ways. Clint Eastwood, of course, the main character. You have Eli Wallach as the ugly of the title, and Lee Van Cleef as the bad, and the three of them are pursuing a cache of 200 grand, I think, in coins, that has been stashed away by Arch Stanton. Not Arch Stanton, Arch Stanton. It's a very important detail right there. The score is by Ennio Morricone. It's a classic. It's such a fun score. The very beginning of the movie made me laugh my butt off with the one guy just suddenly popping up into the frame in an extreme close-up. Yeah, something else. Even the titles, the opening titles, are just like one of the best ever. And as far as classics goes, it just can't be beat. Except, of course, by another Clint Eastwood Western that is one of my favorite movies of all time. My #1 pick, of course, Unforgiven, the Best Picture winner, that he directed, and Gene Hackman, and Richard Harris, and who's the kid? James Woolvet? That's right, yeah. Saul Rubinek. I'm forgetting one. Oh, right, Morgan Freeman, of course. Morgan Freeman as his partner. Yeah, love this movie ever since it came out when I saw it in the theater. Just devastated by the ending and the last title cards. Always be one of my favorites. There's no question that's my favorite Western of all time. So, thanks very much for watching. Check out the other guys' videos as you come across them. I'll leave as many links below as I can find. And we'll see you next week with another Top 10. See ya.